Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day to start things off. Coinbase Custody and Bison Trails have joined the ranks of the Proof of Stake Alliance, known as POSA or POSA. I'm probably going to call it POSA. A 30th of January press release has announced. Together with the Alliance, they will advocate for the adoption of clear regulations on staking proceedings, as well as other development initiatives. The Proof of Stake Alliance is an advocacy group founded in 2019 and featuring more than 18 members. It engages in regulatory and congressional discussions to promote staking-friendly regulation, as well as organizing events and educational initiatives. As COO at Polychain Capital and POSA board member Matt Perona explained to Cointelegraph, the organization's primary goal is to not get taxed a lot when people are staking their coins. He said, first, POSA is working to address how staking rewards received by token holders are taxed. POSA is currently trying to differentiate tax treatment for Bitcoin mining guidance so that staking rewards are taxed on the disposition of the asset, the sale of the reward, as opposed to the receipt. For those of you who don't get that, there is a major move right now. You may have noticed. If you've been in this channel before, at least for the last 5 months, you've definitely heard me talk about this. Every single major cryptocurrency exchange platform is trying to do something with staking. Tezo staking, what is the other one? Cosmos staking, other name staking, I can't remember. And then in the future, it's believed that all these coins will be stakeable. Same exact thing where the other website had Tezo staking. I think there's another website that has... I mean, you can't really stake, what's it called? You can't stake Bitcoin or Tether, but like it's the rewards that would be rolled out would still count as staking from what I read, or like they're trying to make it seem, anyway, the entire point being, they want to differentiate because there's a certain tax that people have to pay when they are mining Bitcoin. However, on these platforms, it is believed, and this seems the way that they're trying to go, they're trying to make this as a, like not a side income, but like a passive income type thing. You buy the crypto, you hold the crypto, you custody it with Coinbase, and you start receiving money from it. But they don't want the same exact taxation rates that you would normally receive, because if you get a lower tax rate, I think they're trying to get it as low as the capital gains tax rate. For those of you who don't know, I do apologize, and I don't mean to make you angry. You may have, and this is something that also got me years ago as well when I first got into investing. This is why I do it so heavily right now. Capital gains are typically taxed less than if you are working, i.e. you may work 9 to 5 and your percentage of a tax rate, let's say roughly, is 30%. If someone buys and sells real estate and they sell it, that is a capital gain. Their tax rate may only be like 15, 16, 17%. So this is pretty much what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it lower, and this is why a lot of people I've spoken to before, a lot of my friends who aren't into investing, I've discussed with them capital gains, just trying to, jog their mind a bit. And they get really angry when they figure out that I'm probably taxed a lot less than them after they're doing 9 to 5. Both mining and staking rewards are currently taxed in the US as direct income, which offers a much higher rate than which offers a much higher rate than capital gains tax normally reserved for a traditional asset. So this is why, in no uncertain terms, why the rich get richer, because their assets they buy perform very well, and even if they choose to sell them, they're taxed at a lower rate. Yeah, awkward. The new member of POSA will be helping the Alliance to amend this regulation, as both organizations are deeply invested in the staking ecosystem by providing customers with the means to stake their assets. A white paper drafted by Abraham Sutherland, a professor at the University of Virginia School of Law, argues that the existing treatment is unfair. Okay. In addition to this work on tax regulation, the Alliance is also engaging with regulators such as the SEC and FinCEN to work on issues related to securities and money service regulation. Both Coinbase Custody and Bison Trails, I always want to say Trails will assist POSA in their initiatives, replying to questions about this so-and-so. And so here's the actual tax thing that they have. It's called Cryptocurrency Economics. Why can't I read? And the Taxation of Block Rewards, Part 2 by Abraham Sutherland, the guy we were just talking about. I assume, assumption time, if there's enough money behind this, this will definitely go through. if there's as much money behind cryptocurrencies as I believe that there currently is, we're probably going to see very favorable tax laws for cryptocurrency. And I'm not in Congress, I'm not in the SEC, I'm not in the Senate, so I don't know any of these things. But how money normally works, I'm expecting there are a lot of lobbying right now trying to get the taxation rate for cryptocurrencies pushed down even further. If you look at the actual taxation rate for capital gains within the US, I think since like the 60s or 70s, or even the 40s or something like that, it was like 70% at one point, and now it's I know it's like a state to state basis, but it's almost nothing, but it's still very low. So I assume if crypto picks up over the next couple of years and staking becomes a very big thing, like a very big industry, which I assume that it will as well, I think we're already in a world where the rich don't really have to work per se. A lot of passive income and stuff like that. Please foresee a future where people will be making millions every single year off of staking from either, I don't know if it's going to be Tezos, I don't know if it's going to be Cardano, I don't know if it's going to be Ether, who knows what it is, but there's going to be something that rich people will be buying up as a digital asset and earning income from it, and it will not have a high tax bracket, because if it does, once again, they're the same exact companies opening up in Europe, a lot in Asia, and I assume at some point we're going to see some popping up in Africa and also South America, Australia, who will have lower tax rates, and the money will simply flow over there. Anyway, yeah, so that's the proof of stake, custody, adoption, taxation rate law news for today. Let's move on. Next up, the U.S. Congress had a hearing about non-cash payment technologies yesterday. During the discussion, Tom Emmer, the chair of the National Republican Congressional Committee, mentioned Ripple, XRP, among several other cryptocurrencies. Here's the actual thing right here. I can't play that because of copyright, yada, yada, yada. U.S. Representative Tom Emmer of Minnesota's 6th District addressed a panel of payment industry leaders yesterday at the congressional hearing known as Is Cash Still King? In a short exchange with Miss Christine Tertraulot, Senior Policy Counsel for Consumer Reports, Mr. Emmer mentioned Ripple and XRP, along with a variety of other cryptocurrencies and projects. Mr. Emmer was asking Mrs. Tertraulot if she was familiar with the high degree of technological innovation taking place in the blockchain to date. He also mentioned Bitcoin, Ether, EOS, Monero, Zcash, the Plastic Bank, and M-Pesa, citing exciting innovations in digital payment technologies. He also voiced concerns that overzealous regulation may be stifling these innovative projects. Mrs. Tertraulot, an expert in digital financial services, served on the Federal Reserve Steering Committee for the Faster Payments Task Force and helped develop Consumer Reports rating system for peer-to-peer payment systems like Venmo. Mr. Tertraulot was familiar with XRP as well as several other cryptocurrencies and payment technologies mentioned by Mr. Emmer. The congressional panel also expressed concerns over ransomware and cryptojacking attacks, as well as database hacks. It was, however, recognized that cryptocurrencies can be used to mitigate these cybercrimes, including data theft. And then this article, once again, this is on a website called Bitcoinist. You can kind of assume which coin they like. The article continues, the XRP army promoted these comments on social media as a congressional endorsement, which is a far cry from what actually took place. The entire point is, and this is one of the articles, we have that daily thing, news that's everywhere news. This was everywhere. The fact that anytime anyone in the Congress, the Senate, a president, a leader, somewhere mentions any cryptocurrencies, it gets one community riled up. The fact is that they were talking about the future of digital payments. I assume this also has to do, I'm seeing an increased amount of, you can call them representatives. It doesn't even matter which political party they may be affiliated with. A large amount of politicians who are coming forward discussing or promoting or showing their support for cryptocurrencies, kind of on that level. He also voiced his concerns that overzealous regulation may be stifling these innovative projects. The point being, regulators know about us. They know what Ripple is. They know what XRP is. They know what Bitcoin, Ether, EOS, Monero, Zcash, and also the Plastic Bank. I assume that is a bank made out of plastic. That was a joke. Anyway, yeah, this was all over the news, and I'm not like it was actually everywhere. The entire point being is that they have many discussions about cryptocurrencies, and I think here's how I feel about it. I think a lot of people feel if a certain discussion was aimed towards them, or if they were the focus of said discussion, like there have been other points before where other members from the Ripple team group have sat before congressional leaders and they've spoke with them, or they've been seen at certain events, money events. And I notice an uptick in articles where people who are promoters of Ethereum, Bitcoin, have EOS podcasts and or websites will talk negatively about Ripple being at an event. If there's like a huge event and people from Blockstream are there, the people who build heavily on Bitcoin right now, the code, or if Ethereum's there, then people from EOS and Ripple and Cardano will then talk down about the Bitcoin Ethereum event. So it's just kind of a loop, if you will. The entire point is I find it significant. For me, I try to look past the BS, excuse my language. I try to look past all of that and simply go, well, they're talking about us. They're not talking about banning us. And they're talking about, we have advocates in larger places who are still advocating for the usage of cryptocurrencies, or the lower taxation for cryptocurrencies, or the actual general everyday hampering down of the industry to kind of push all that aside to be able to move all of us up. But most people only pay attention to the fact that some word was said, or a name was said, or XRP was mentioned, and that people completely lose their minds. It's just kind of how the market is. Anyway, XRP and Ripple and Bitcoin and EOS and Monero and Zcash were all mentioned by Congress during a tech meeting. I think that should be the headline, as opposed to the XRP army is wrong for what happened. You should all be happy in some sort of way that we have anyone advocating for us, because we all know there are many other countries where they don't like cryptocurrencies, and then everyone else is told you also don't like cryptocurrencies, and the cryptocurrencies get banned. Try to find the silver lining in everything if you can. Next up, one of the most awaited events in the history of man, the Bitcoin halving, is estimated to take place about 100 days from today. On this day, the reward that miners get from adding blocks to the network will be slashed in half, from 12.5 BTC per block as of today in the recent 4 years to 6.25 BTC per block. It will also reduce Bitcoin's preset inflation rate from the current 3.68% to about 1.8%. Even though the date of the Bitcoin halving could range depending on the network's hash rate and will take place on the next 630,000 blocks, whatever. As of now, it is estimated to be in precisely 100 days. So the first part to take away is that we have 100 days left. Kudos to us for being patient. I remember when we had 700 days left. And I remember articles talking about 500 days, 200 days. We're very close. We have 100 days left. I'm sure you are also noticing, if you've been watching the videos, a major uptick in the amount of excitement from people who are talking about where Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space is going to go. A thing that I always want everyone to keep in mind, and I'm glad that a friend of mine got this a couple of days ago. I think a lot of times when I go through articles or that things that talk about this, or people talking about the future of the cryptocurrency space, I think a lot of people forget, or tend to forget, that a lot of the people offering this advice aren't simply random people on Twitter, people who are trying to hype up the space. It's typically very large people. You remember last year when we had that, what was it? It was like, it wasn't a PDF. It was like an entire article that had been written by a bank in Germany, and there was also one in Switzerland as well, where they were discussing that according to their price metrics, as they've been looking at the price of Bitcoin since 2013, they saw that Bitcoin was roughly going to hit within the next couple of years, is going to go anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 per Bitcoin. The thing to keep in mind is that if we ourselves are going over these things and we're talking about the future of Bitcoin's price, these are mega corporation conglomerate banks. They have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in reserves. If they're thinking about where all this stuff is going to go, it's because other people are also doing the exact same thing. And this is what usually tells me, or I have an indication of where the actual price is going to go. Tying into everything that I just said, it's because I am being flooded with these articles. So I only have 2 of them here because this seems to be the same exact idea. Remember in 2018 and 2019, I kept on saying the news everywhere was Bitcoin's going down. Bitcoin's going to, go a lot lower. Bitcoin's not done going down. It was there was no reason to be bearish. However, the news was drenching us in this negative news that we had to simply hear that Bitcoin simply wasn't going to do well over and over and over again. Raoul Pal, a former executive at Goldman Sachs, predicts Bitcoin will be the best performing asset over the next decade. According to Pal, co-founder and CEO at Real Vision, an on-demand financial TV channel where major investors share their best business ideas, he said, "If I could only own one asset for the next 10 years, it would be Bitcoin. It encapsulates all of my larger macro views and feels like the point on the far horizon we are headed to, in some shape or form." He said, "Yes, like gold too, and many other things, but Bitcoin's risk-reward beats them all." Powell has a long history with Bitcoin. He was an early investor who sold all of his holdings in June 2017. I know he was upset, calling Bitcoin a solution looking for a problem. But in an August 2019 interview on the Stephan Livera podcast, Powell said he thinks the highly volatile and risky cryptocurrency is worth investing in, even if there's only a 1% chance it succeeds. He says, "I know all these macro guys. They're all in it. They get it. They get the optionality. They may be complete believers, part believers, partial believers. But even then, if it's a 1% chance of being right and the upside is 100x from here, you'd do this all day." Powell previously managed the GLG Global Macro Fund in London and GLG Partners, one of the world's largest hedge fund groups, and ran the hedge fund sales, equities, business and equities, and equity derivatives in Europe for Goldman Sachs. Tying in directly into what we were just talking about, a closely watched veteran trader who became legendary in crypto circles for calling Bitcoin's big collapse in January of 2018 is revealing his latest thought on Bitcoin, XRP, and Litecoin, the world's first, third, and 7th largest cryptocurrencies by market cap. Peter Brandt, who had previously said Bitcoin could rise to 100,000 in its current long-term cycle, says the king coin remains in a historical bull trend. In his latest weekly crypto outlook, Brandt says the leading cryptocurrency is now showing early signs, that it could climb a lot higher than 100,000. We've had a lot of analysts who said that it's very difficult because all these numbers are hypothetical. But my entire thing always is that it's never just 1 or 2 people coming up with this idea. It's many people in the industry, and it's never just one person in this state or in this country. It's around 15 to 25 who constantly come to the exact same conclusion. And then you always have the extra people who kind of like see things moving a bit further. The numbers that we were getting and have been getting, if I remember them correctly, is that during this current bull run, people are expecting Bitcoin to hit anywhere from 50 to 80,000 US dollars. However, there are a lot of people saying, according to their charts, they think that we are going to hit around 100,000. But still, even then, we have people saying that they think, according to their charts, that Bitcoin could do, what's the thing? I forgot the X amount that they were talking about that it could possibly hit. But people are saying around 160,000. So we have a huge window. And part of the problem is that I think people are very impatient. I think a lot of people who've been into crypto and saw the massive rise of crypto in 2017 are waiting for another movement up. So I think it gives us these moments where people want to see the mega explosion. But it's very difficult. It's so hard to explain to people because you have to keep everything into perspective. If we have the momentum of world leaders, banks, institutions, corporations creating their own cryptocurrencies, buying Bitcoin, custodying Bitcoin, Bitcoin derivatives, futures, trading, custodying, and giving you mining rewards and all this other stuff, and Bitcoin is on its way, is potentially, could be on its way to being a world currency, it's going to take a while. So I think I've noticed before as well, whenever we get these articles about people talking about where they see on their charts where Bitcoin is going to go, and Bitcoin hasn't gone there in like a week, a month, people get very angry. And I said this before, I don't think I've actually said it this year. If you're in this for the quick money, you are in the wrong industry. Crypto has matured a lot since 2017. It is going to take us a while to get to $1 million Bitcoin, but according to current estimates, we are going to get there. So I dare say be patient. Kingdom's historic trend, early size, it could climb a lot higher than 100,000. He said, we can use this recent low that we've seen back in December that connects back to December 2018 as kind of a now redefining the parabolic advance that could be in the process of developing now. And that has implications. He said, I don't want to go too far ahead of myself because I can make an argument here that I'm not really sure can be made yet, that we're going a lot higher than 100,000. And it won't be until 2021. This goes exactly what that other guy was saying as well, the guy from Plan B. You can't really see the numbers here. This is the kind of around where we are, 9,300. This is 60,000. This is 300,000. This is 1.2 million. And I think this is $6 million per Bitcoin. It seems unfathomable because people weren't around Bitcoin at this time. I think people jump into the market always, and this is just fine. It's okay that this happens. Don't take me as talking down to you or saying that you shouldn't be doing this. It's okay to expect these gains. When people buy real estate, they know in their heart that it's going to take 15 to 20 years to make an enormous amount of money from that real estate. But everybody kind of wants it tomorrow. Everybody wants it immediately. But this is what holds me heavily into the market. First of all, it's not even that I'm a major believer in decentralization. I love the idea of decentralization. I don't know how far we're going to get with decentralization because a lot of world leaders are obsessed with centralized models. And I foresee a future where we may have decentralized currencies, but they have to go through centralized point of whatever to be able to have the money continue flowing around. This is the kind of how I see it. So I would love a world where money was free and able for everybody and everyone had a good old jolly time. However, I don't foresee that because the powers that be always want to hold on to their power. At the same exact time, everything that we have gone through over the last 1,300 videos, it's very obvious to me where all of this is going. And I know that we're going to continue getting this news, especially as we are, once again, only 100 days away, if not less than that, as we had the news yesterday, that according to current metrics, it could be the end of April that we end up seeing Bitcoin happening. What I think... I don't know. I think a couple of things will, is the word alleviate? Relieve the market. I think Bitcoin has to go above 10,000. That'll be a huge from a lot of people. I think Bitcoin has to go past 20,000. I think obviously number-wise, 20 is bigger than 10, but I think that's more of a barrier for people's minds. And when we pass by 20 again, I think that'll be the huge relief that the market will sigh, because for some reason, a lot of people think that we can't pass by 20,000 again. And I don't know where that entire idea is coming from. I've seen it in the comment section. I think a lot of people are just trolls. I think a lot of people have nothing better to do with their time. So they kind of write these things, but I've also seen other articles. There were articles talking about that XRP was never going to go past $1. And I'm like, can you count? That's roughly a 4x from where it is right now. Like there are other crappy coins that actually aren't being used that will definitely have a 10 to 15x. So XRP will definitely hit $1 again. We are going to hit a point probably this year, just speculation, where Bitcoin is going to go past 20,000 again. I think we need to hit these numbers as a reconfirmation, something that'll tell people that it is possible, because a lot of people, for some reason, and I don't know why people can't see this. I don't know why people find it impossible that Bitcoin could ever hit 100,000. Look at where we are. Look at where we were. Look at how much more we didn't go through a halving last time. We didn't go through all these institutions buying up Bitcoin. It's very odd that, I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe my perception of reality is vastly different from what other people see, how they deal with things. But these articles are going to continue as we get closer to this halving. April does look like more of a reality. I assume by March then, we should have a good indication of the market pumping. I think, and this is just how I feel, this is how I am as a person, how I am in the cryptocurrency space. I believe in the very long term of this. One thing that's been tapping at the back of my head for a while now is if we end up getting to May, this is very important. If we end up getting to April and May and Bitcoin is still under 10,000 or Bitcoin is just around 15,000 and not at the predetermined, destined 50,000, 80,000, 100,000 that people are thinking that it's going to go to, I think a lot of people have already, and I think more people will lose faith in the cryptocurrency space. Now, the important part to think about here is that just because normal everyday people have lost faith doesn't mean that banks, institutions, and other really rich people who are buying it up are going to lose faith. So it's these moments where, and I tell my friends things like this candidly or more openly, simply because, you know, they're my friends. And I it's not to alarm people who are listening to this, but it's like there are possibilities that Bitcoin might not hit 50,000 by the summer. There are possibilities that Bitcoin may not be 100,000 by next year. It's all these, it's just that people have these charts, they go through the charts and everyone is coming to the exact same conclusion, but we're still in a world where these things may not come to be. And I'm afraid of, in my own way, of people losing faith for the cryptocurrency space. The same exact way I may have told you before, growing up, I was always told never to invest in stocks and bonds, mutual funds, all these other things because they were scams. Because people in my family had invested in stocks and stuff in the 70s and 80s when all these crashes happened. So they put their money into these systems and then they lost all their money. And then, you know, a couple of months, a year later, the market always goes back up, but my family wasn't in it. So they see the rise and they want to get back in, but then they remember the pain that they felt before. So it's kind of like well, that's a scam. I definitely won't get back into it. And it's like, it's kind of one of those things. We are going to see a generation built off of bitterness of people who did not get into the cryptocurrency space, who were in the cryptocurrency space awaiting these massive, mega crazy gains. And then when they weren't realized, when that person wanted them to be realized, they left the market. And 10 years from now, these people will go, the entire thing's a scam. You'll hear news stories of Bitcoin just hit 1.5 million and they go, yeah, but it's only for the rich. And it's like, you also had the opportunity to be in that market. Like, I know this for a fact because I've had tons of family members tell me that they tried to get into these markets. They either lost money in the markets. I knew people who put tons of money into the market around 2007. You know where that's going. The market went up a lot. The market had like a couple of weeks, days where things were going down. If you remember the news around that time, people were like, it's fine. The market will be totally fine. As people were like taking all their money out of, what was that one? Solomon Brothers, was it? You know, all these things. So same exact way when BitConnect collapsed. People were, I mean, not that BitConnect is a good example, but people keep their money in these markets and they kind of, I mean, it's a very complex thing. I'm going to be in crypto for a very long time. So if you're along for the ride, I give you digital high five. We will be together for some time, but I know there's going to be a world where Bitcoin doesn't perform. I've seen there were comments a couple of months ago. I think when Bitcoin was like really slamming down, like for like a couple of weeks, it was doing very, very negatively. Like it wasn't even going sideways. It kept on going down every day. And people were writing, I don't know if they were jokes. I assume they were not jokes. People were writing that their wives were getting really upset with them because they had put this money into it. People were telling me that their wives didn't know that they had put money into this and they had lost the money. It was all these things. So I think there's a lot of wishes and hopes and dreams. We all have them. It's not even the people who are married or whatever. It's everyone. We all have ideas of where we want to be in 5 years. And I think a lot of people, I don't know. I do honestly hope, and this is probably the most honest thing I will ever say, I want the market to go up, not because I want to, I don't like calling myself rich. I don't want to have more money. I mean, I would like more money, but I want everyone else to be able to have money as well, if that makes any sense. Like, I want people to understand and believe where all of this is going. And I think one of the main catalysts for that will be the prices actually going up. I think a lot of people, their support, their kind of like luster, energy for the market is, I think there's been a spark as we get closer to the actual halving. But if the halving doesn't materialize as this mega crazy earth-shattering thing where Bitcoin passes by 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000, I think a lot of people are going to be very disappointed, cash out of the market, and then, yeah. I hope that made sense to everybody. Like, I want everyone to really not believe, that sounds very like culty. I just want everyone to really get the potential for where all of this is going. I mean, even 100,000, that's still, but at that point, it's no longer on my shoulders. I already told you, when Bitcoin goes to 100,000, we're going to see a huge pullback because everyone's going to get very, very scared. We're probably going to fall back down to around 25,000. This is how pullbacks work with Bitcoin. It's always a super dramatic fall. And at that point, people will leave the market. They will flee immediately and never come back. And then, yeah, don't be the person. This is why we spoke about the thing yesterday with the whole 1% of your portfolio. If Bitcoin at some point becomes 1 million, 2, 3, 4, 5, $10 million, and there's 1% of your portfolio, my goodness, you've made it. If it goes down to zero, well, then it went down to zero and it was only 1% of your portfolio. It's a huge risk. All of this is a very huge risk. No one knows where this is all going to go. It's massive amounts of speculation, but it looks like fate is on our side, if that kind of makes any sense. It's just a matter of, you have to be patient. It's not easy. People were very patient when Bitcoin went from $12 to 20,000. It's just a matter of having that same, that same oomph to be able to do so. Yeah, let's move on. Next up, Silvergate Bank is venturing even further into a field where few financial institutions dare to tiptoe. The La Jolla, California lender made a name for itself providing hard-to-come-by US dollar banking services for businesses that dealt in cryptocurrencies. But now Silvergate wants to handle digital assets themselves, of course. While the bank has no such services on their roadmap yet, I'm sure they don't. Yet it has applied for the New York Trust license with the aim of providing custody and settlement for crypto. One example of this might be looking to provide settlement services for their Bitcoin trades. In this scenario, Silvergate would be the intermediary ensuring settlement for a fiat to Bitcoin exchange between two participants on its Silvergate exchange network, a payments platform that allows commercial customers to instantly move US dollars between crypto exchanges. So they want to be a cryptocurrency exchange. In order for us to be able to be that trusted intermediary, we have to be able to touch the digital assets ourselves. Think about it as if Silvergate also had the ability to be the SEN for Bitcoin. The service, almost certainly the first of its kind offered by a U.S. commercial bank, wouldn't apply to retail investors or institutional investors that are already comfortable with Bitcoin as an asset class. I think the point is that they wanted to do it for people who are relatively new to the market, who wanted to have their first foray into the cryptocurrency space. I remember talking about Silvergate sometime last year. I'm pretty sure, if not, no. I was going to say the only one, but there were definitely other ones. But Silvergate was one of the more talked about ones because it was very difficult for any cryptocurrency exchanger, even if you were dealing in cryptocurrencies, to be able to have a bank account. A lot of people were writing, and there were articles and people writing in the comment section that people tried buying off of Coinbase. They had their bank accounts frozen. They were like, why are you trying to buy crypto? I think people were selling their crypto at one point, and I think their accounts were also blocked because they couldn't. It's just a load of stupidity. So there were certain banks who understood that money would be in that market, but now Silvergate appears to trying to become a cryptocurrency exchange themselves. I wonder where banks are going to be in 10 years. I don't foresee a future where banks will be obsolete, but I see them just being more digital, or like just catering to digital assets, or I don't foresee banks disappearing. I think regulators will always want an intermediary in some sort of way, but I think they're definitely going to change from how we currently view them or how they're currently seen, especially with all that talk of them trying to make their own things and make faster payments. It's like, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to adopt the current cryptocurrencies because, anyway, I almost went on a tangent, but yeah. And to kind of finish things off, in also the other part of news that was everywhere news, Japan's Line social network, the largest in the country, has announced the launch of its digital currency Link in the Japanese markets for April. The token had previously been available in all countries, except for Japan and the US. Line made its first move into blockchain back in early 2018 when it announced plans to launch a cryptocurrency exchange within its chat app. After much negotiation with Japanese regulators, Line launched the BitBox exchange in July 2018, but outside of its app and excluding Japanese and US users. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. In October 2018, Line launched the Link cryptocurrency and listed it on BitBox with initial trading pairs against Bitcoin, Ether, and Tether, of course. However, it's still not available. Sorry for laughing. Still not available in the Japanese domestic market, which Line initially sought to service. The point being, they got regulation thumbs up for it. They're gonna launch. It's regulations dumb. A Japanese company created a Japanese cryptocurrency, and they weren't allowed to give it to people in Japan. I always want to understand, but I think it's just not meant for me. I mean, I get it, but it's more like a why? Why? Whatever. It's about control. It's about money. This is what it's always about. So, like I said, this news was everywhere. I assume I'm not in Japan, but I assume BitBox is relatively popular because the news about the people who made BitBox being able to launch their own cryptocurrency finally to people in Japan is major news. I wish them the best of luck. I'm usually confused sometimes why news that's everywhere is everywhere. Right. Pretty picture, though. A very pretty picture. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Chongololo Tsongololo, Nostromo, Mr. Pickles, John Sarson, the Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Barebones Mining, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Miluizi, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas Renault, One Piece, One Love, Damien Setsuna, Nick Kanai, Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Biz, Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, and Tigara Macho Nisa. Thank you all very, very much for your support, and thank you to everyone out there who is a member of the channel. Before I started this video, the market was in red. For those of you not looking at the screen, the entire top... okay. The entire top 24 is in green right now. I mean, they're not big greens, but it's still green. Bitcoin is currently up by 0.31%. ETH is up by 5.3. XRP is up by 4.39. Where is it? Tether keeps moving back. I think it's just this website. They have really weird placements for their chart sometimes. We'll see what's happening. I assume this has to do with trading in Asia. Maybe something is happening that we are just simply unaware of. EOS is up. Like I said, Cardano is up by 7.5%. The entire top coins are... Neo is also up by almost 10%. Question mark. Anyway, it's nice to see a sea of green, even if there's no real indication as to why it's happened yet. I do hope that you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to have some tea. My throat is killing me. I think I've been doing too much once again. The air is all discombobulated. Off to the second channel I go, and then to my other stuff that I have to do. Thank you all once. Sorry if I sound exhausted. I mean, it is Sunday. Is it Sunday? Checking phone. Yep, it's Sunday. So I have an excuse to sound a bit more tired. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will definitely be talking to you all soon. See you.